we have to go for approaches to disaster risk reduction. Good morning, students. Now we have to go for approaches to disaster risk reduction. First, we have to see what is disaster risk reduction. Second one, we have to go for phases of disasters. And third one, we have to go for disaster management cycle. In disaster management cycle, we have to see prevention, mitigations, preparedness based on concept of DRR. Okay. Next one, we have to go for structural measures, non-structural measures, and then roles and responsibility of community. And then next one, you have to go for Panchayat Raj institutions, urban local bodies, and then framework of a state and central level, state disaster management authority. Next one, we have to go for yearly warning systems, and then advices from appropriate agencies. These are all seen in appropriate agencies. And then these are all topics you have to see in approaches to disaster risk reduction. Okay.
Hundreds of disasters happen every year. We can't always prevent them from happening, but we can limit the scale of devastation, which is where disaster risk reduction, DRR for short, comes into play. So here are 10 things you should know about DRR. 1. We'll start with a rundown of facts from 2001 to 2010. In that time span, disasters caused nearly $1 trillion worth of damage. That's more than the value of Google, Walmart, and Toyota combined. A staggering number of people lost their homes, 28 million. That's the entire population of Australia. Disasters claimed 1.1 million lives over the course of the decade, an average of 300 deaths each day. 2. Think you know what a natural disaster is? Surprise, there's really no such thing as a natural disaster, only natural hazards, like floods, earthquakes, and tsunamis, or man-made hazards, like riots and conflicts. Our vulnerability to these hazards determines their impact. Simply put, disaster risk equals hazard times vulnerability. 3. Disasters expose inequalities. The more vulnerable the population, the worse the disaster's impact will be. When an earthquake strikes a poor country, more deaths and more economic losses will likely occur than when it hits a rich country. And in any country hit by a disaster, the most vulnerable and excluded suffer most. 4. DRR means managing disasters, which requires managing risks with different tools. Hard interventions include protecting buildings and infrastructure. Soft interventions include education and training. These tools are part of a broader initiative to make communities more resilient by ensuring they have more capacity to cope with a range of threats, from environmental to socioeconomic. 5. The approach taken to address one disaster may unexpectedly lead to further disasters. For example, you may grow more rice to alleviate malnutrition, but rice requires heavy irrigation and mosquitoes breed in standing water, which can lead to more malaria cases. 6. Disaster response needs to involve local people. Communities have a wealth of valuable skills and knowledge to offer. Working closely with local people helps them develop the skills needed to handle future disasters, like rebuilding homes or search and rescue. 7. DRR can help create positive change. It can make communities more safe and secure, making it easier to focus on long-term development aims, like building hospitals and training teachers. 8. Caring about DRR also means caring about climate change. Increasingly unpredictable weather brings new challenges, like higher crop prices and conflict over natural resources. These challenges make it harder for communities to adapt, cope, and respond to risks. Helping people deal with climate change will support efforts to make disasters less destructive and disruptive. 9. DRR also needs to account for changes in how people live. For example, more people are living in cities, exposing them to a larger number of hazards, from diseases to gang violence to floods. 10. Disaster risk is everyone's business. Anyone working on development or aid responses needs to think about disaster risk to make sure their efforts don't end up putting more people at risk. Collaboration is also key. Organizations can achieve more by working with one another and with civil society groups.
Okay, now we have to go for the second unit. The topic name is approaches to disaster risk reduction. You have to see first, you have to what is a disaster risk reduction. You have to see what are the topics you have to cover now. Disaster risk reduction, evolution, and the core elements you have to see now. DRR challenges. DRR is nothing but a disaster risk reduction. Climate changes, urbanization, information management, conclusion. Okay. Next, you have to see disaster risk reduction, a moving agenda. In the period of 1990 to 1999, International Decide on National Disaster Reduction. In the period of 2000, United Nations International Strategy for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNISDR, Global Platform for DRR. DRR is nothing but disaster risk reduction in the period of 2007. Okay. Next one, in the period of 1994, Yokohama Strategy World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction. In the period of 2005, World Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction, COBE. Okay. Next one, Go Framework for Action 2005-2015. Make disaster risk reduction national priority. Identification, assessment, and monitoring of disaster risk using knowledge and innovation for DRR. Reducing underlying factors and strengthening preparedness capacities. Next one, what do you mean by disaster risk reduction? You have to see the definition now. The conceptual framework of elements considered with the vulnerabilities and disaster risk throughout a society to avoid prevention or to limit mitigation and preparedness. The adverse impact of hazard within the broad context of sustainable development. Next, you have to see disasters as a social construction. In the period of 2010, Pakistan flood. You see this diagram. In the period of 2010, earthquakes, that is Haiti earthquakes. In the period of 2010. In the period of 2005, Hurricane Katrina disasters attack. In the period of 2010, Great East Japan earthquakes. Okay. Next one, conceptual framework for disasters. Disaster management, disaster risk reduction. It goes under risk assessment, prevention, mitigations, preparedness, risk conscious, risk evil, sustainable development. Okay. Next one, another risk model, crunch model. One is vulnerability, underlying causes, vulnerability, unsafe condition, disasters, hazard, trigger events. First, you have to see vulnerability underlying causes. One is poverty, limited access to power structures, limited access to resource, ideologies, economic systems. And then vulnerability, unsafe condition, fragile physical environment, dangerous location, dangerous building and infrastructures, livelihood at risk. And then disaster equal to vulnerability plus hazard equal to disasters. Hazard trigger events, earthquake, high winds, flooding, volcanic eruption, landslides, droughts, war and civil conflicts. Okay. Next one, causes of risk. You see risk, hazard, vulnerability. Okay. Next one, risk assessment. You should answer the question first. What can happen in risk assessment period? How likely is that to happen in risk period? What will be the consequence be? What are the challenges? Risk prescription, time, agent, multi hazards. Next one, risk assessment product. One is you see these colors. Red color indicating high, that is it should be dangerous, severity earthquakes, red color. And then yellow color indicating medium. And then light green color indicating low earthquake. You see this diagram represent. Okay. And then tsunami we can classify into two. One is large, another one is small. In large side you have to see scenarios 1, early warning system successful. Scenarios 1 yes, scenario 2 no. Similarly, you have to go for geographical extent. You have to go for small scenarios 3, scenarios 4. Yearly warning system successful, whether yes or no. Okay. Next one, risk assessment period outcomes. You have to see structural measures. Second one, non-structural measures. In structural measures, you have to see building measures, re-out rotaries, building measures, new building, building measures, non-engineered structures, production of lifelines, land use planning controls, code of practice for building bylaws, public awareness. Next one, training, education, building safe communities, insurance, development of naval disaster management systems, preparedness plan. Okay, this is a diagram represent for risk assessment outcomes. Both we have to see in structural measures and then non-structural measures. Okay. Next one, urbanization. More than half of the world current population lives in cities. By the year of 2015, they are expected to 60 megacities in the world, each with a population of 10 millions or more peoples. Next one, you have to go for high concentration of resource and people within cities. Almost economical, social and environmental cost of extreme events are high in urban areas. Next one, climate change. Increase the frequency and magnitude of many types of extreme events, including flood, drought, tropical cyclones and wildfires. Change the nature of many types of hazards maybe leads to relocation within and between countries. Okay. Digital era. Number of cell phone users is bigger than the total world populations. Challenges. Use of social media in disaster management. You have to information through cell phones, and then you have to give the social medias also. Next one, this is the slogan. Difficulty in securing and maintaining resource for disaster risk reduction is that if it is successful, nothing happened and nobody knows about it. You have to maintain the resource for disaster risk reduction. If it is successful, nothing happened and nobody knows about it. Okay. Hi friends, good afternoon. Roles and responsibilities of community. In roles and responsibilities of community, we have to see one by one. Research issues in design methodology, motion issues, elastic and inelastic demand issues, capacity issues, life cycle issues, improved design process, risk and reliability issues. Next one, research issue. First, we have to see one by one. First one, research issues in design methodology, performance and damage, identification, qualitative description of importance, performance level, relation between physical damage measures and repair cost, business interruption. Okay. Next one, you have to see ground motion issues, soft soil effort, near field efforts, duration efforts, ground motion description for design, real versus design ground motion, elastic and inelastic demand issues, multiple degree of freedom efforts. Next one, capacity issues, capacity parameters, quantifying of capacity, cumulative damage issues, life cycle issues, cost versus benefit analysis, identify and quantify life cycle cost and benefits, multi hazard issues, earthquake and wind and fire. Next one, improved design process, multi-level design, low performance level, importance of strength versus stiffness versus deformation versus energy, non-structural and content production, design calibration and validation of performance, innovative method of production. Next one, risk and reliability issues, uncertainties in ground motion, modeling uncertainties, reliability based design methodology. Next one, we have to go for a yearly warning system. Next topic, yearly warning system. It should be based on threat status. Warning, alert, watches. You have to see. I show the 3 tabular column. One is threat status, action to be taken, disseminated to. In threat status, first one, warning. Public should be advised to move inland towards higher ground. One is MHA, NDMA, public media, NCC battalions. MHA stands for mitigation, hazard, awareness, national disaster mitigation awareness. And the next one, alert. Public should be advised to avoid beaches and low-lying coastal areas at the time of disaster period. That is mitigation, hazard, awareness, public media. Watch. No immediate action is required. MHA, NDRF battalions. NDRF means National Disaster Relief Fund. Threat paused. All clear determination to be made by the local authorities, MHA, NDRF, battalions, public media. Okay. Next one, nuclear power is safe. There is negligible radiation hazard to the public. All environmental risks are well within the regulatory limits. There is no significant impact on environment. Power generation cost is competitive. Next, we have to go for advisory from appropriate agencies. Seismic performance is described by designating the maximum allowable damage state performance level for an identified seismic hazard earthquake ground motions. Next, we have to see for performance objectives may include consideration of damage states for several levels of ground motion would then terminated as dual or multi-level performance objectives. Next, we have to see definition based defining basic safety performance objectives, earthquake motion, operational, immediate occupancy, life safety, structural stability. This is the tabular column for defining basic safety performance objectives. Serviceability, earthquake, design earthquakes, maximum earthquakes. Design earthquakes, life safety is value is 3, maximum earthquake, life safety, structural stability value is 3. Okay. Next one, probability of occurrence of earthquakes during the period of 2008 to 2019, magnitude range 4 to 5. You have to see the 4 states: Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Kerala. Tamil Nadu 48 to 52%, Andhra Pradesh 64 to 67%, Karnataka 54 to 57%, Kerala 48 to 52%. Then magnitude range 5 to 6. In Tamil Nadu state 46 to 60%, Andhra Pradesh 42 to 47%, Karnataka 15 to 20%, Kerala 10 to 15%. Okay. Next, you have to see disaster risk reduction frameworks. Shifting from release and respond mode, disaster management in India started to address the issues of yearly warning system, forecasting and monitoring, setting up for various weather related hazards. In the disaster risk reduction, you have to go for formation of a warning, alert, and updates about the oncoming hazards also emerged within this framework. Okay. Next one, disaster risk reduction. You have to go for multi-stakeholders as high-powered group. It representatives from different ministries and departments. Some of these ministries are also designated as the nodal authorities for disasters. Next, we have to go for Panchayat institution versus urban local bodies. Central governments, Minister of Home Affairs, Disaster Management Cell, Nodal Ministry, National Disaster Management Authority, National Executive Committee Chair, State Governments, National Institute of Disaster Management, National Disaster Relief Fund. Okay. Next one, Panchayat Raj institution, urban local bodies, district administration. One is Panchayat, another one is municipalities. Next one, district disaster management authority, legal institution framework. Next, you have to go for Panchayat Raj institution versus urban local bodies. Approve the national plans. Approve plans prepared by the ministries or departments of the government of India in accordance with the national plan. Lay down guidelines to be followed by the state authorities in drawing up the state plan. Panchayat Raj institution versus urban local bodies coordinate the enforcement and implementation of the policies and plan for disaster management. Recommend provision of funds for the purpose of mitigation. Provide such supports to other countries affected by major disasters may be determined by the central government. Panchayat Raj institutions versus urban local bodies provide such supports to other countries affected by major disasters as may be determined by the central governments. Take such other measures for the prevention of disaster or the mitigations or preparedness and capacity building for dealing with the threatening disaster situation or disaster as may be necessary considered. Lay down, lay down broad policies and guidelines for the function of the National Institute of Disaster Management. Organizational structures of a National Institute of Disaster Management. Now, the institute has 4 academic divisions. One is Geohazard divisions, Hydromet hazard divisions, Policy planning and cross-cutting issues divisions, response divisions. Okay. Now we have to go for organizational structures of a National Institute of Disaster Management. Interdivisional cells, seismic microzonation, climate change disasters, human resource visualized mapping, urban risk mitigations, public-private partnership. Next, you have to go for organizational structures of National Institute of Disaster Management in IT cells, computer centers, GIS lab, Geographic Information System lab, video conferencing. Next one, you have to see organizational structures of a National Institute of Disaster Management. What we do in training cells, one is face-to-face training, another one is online training, emergency operation centers, library and publications. Okay.